Our story begins with a little girl on a school trip wearing a dress of a different color than the uniform. She walks along the beach by herself and gets lost from her classmates. Because she's wearing a different dress, none of the teachers notice her absence, and they all leave without her. When the girl realizes she's alone, she sits on the ground crying. She enters an orphanage where she lives her childhood alone with no friends or family. At mealtime, no one cares about her. She's always late, arriving after the food is gone, and drinks water to satisfy her hunger. She continues like this until she grows up and enters high school, becoming a beautiful girl named Saul. Although she's kind, she's always bullied for being an orphan. They say she smells bad and stick gum in her hair, which she just cuts out because she doesn't want to fight. They throw food and juice on her because she's poor. She has to work part-time distributing medicine to pharmacies. A senior introduces her to this job using fake IDs to buy prescription medicine. After one job, the senior asks about her dreams, but Saul says she never thought about it. He gives her some pills and tells her to study hard if she wants to change her life. Saul decides to study and get high grades, staying up late every night studying in the dark. She starts taking the pills to stay awake, and because of the drugs, she begins to hallucinate, imagining herself studying underwater. She succeeds in her exams and becomes third in the school. Suddenly, people begin to change their treatment of her. The orphanage director brings her food while she studies. Saul decides to become first to make everyone respect her more. She takes more medication and succeeds, achieving her goal of being first in the school. Her classmates stop bullying her. She continues taking drugs and even steals them from pharmacies to stay awake. She receives a scholarship to a famous school that only 1% of students in Korea get into, and she's overjoyed. 2 months later, she travels to the city to enter the new school. Since it's her first time in the city, she gets lost, but follows a map until she arrives. The school is large, and all the students are rich girls. She goes to the affairs office, where the employee is surprised she came alone without a guardian. She feels embarrassed because she was raised in an orphanage. The employee asks her to buy the school uniform, and she promises she will. She attends the welcoming ceremony, but when she asks girls for directions, they see she's poor and refuse to talk. She follows other girls until she reaches the celebration hall, where she sees families attending with the girls. She feels embarrassed being the only girl without family. An old woman enters to sell flowers, but security tries to remove her. Suddenly, a rich girl named Jenny appears and buys all the flowers. Seoul is impressed by this kindness. Jenny goes on stage and welcomes the students, speaking many languages. Everyone applauds because she's smart, beautiful, and rich, the perfect student. Jenny asks everyone to stand for a minute of silence for their teacher who died. Seoul takes the opportunity to leave, but Jenny sees her, and it catches her attention. Seoul goes to her classroom, but none of the girls will let her sit next to them, so she sits alone. The teacher talks about Jenny being the smartest student, always ranking first, and how everyone expects her to get into medical school. Suddenly, Jenny enters their classroom. Everyone is surprised, and students call out, wanting her to sit next to them. As Seoul's bag falls to the floor, she feels embarrassed putting things back while students make fun of her for being poor, but Jenny is the only one who helps her. Jenny walks around, choosing a place to sit. She looks at the girls, but goes to Seoul and sits next to her. She introduces herself and asks to be friends. Everyone is shocked. During break, Seoul goes to the bathroom and 3 girls follow her. They ask her to switch seats with them because they want to sit next to Jenny, offering her money. Seoul refuses, but agrees to switch with one girl who sits in front so she can focus. But the other 2 feel jealous and make fun of her for being poor and not having a uniform. Jenny enters and tells them it's lunchtime. The girls are happy, but Jenny takes Seoul's hand to go eat together. Everyone is surprised to see Jenny as friends with Seoul. Jenny takes her to the cafeteria, and they sit together. Rich students come to sit with them and try to get to know Seoul. She gets nervous, afraid they'll find out she was raised in an orphanage. Each one talks about her dream. One wants to be a lawyer, another an artist. Seoul tells them her dream is medical school. They're surprised she wants to be a doctor like Jenny and ask if she takes private lessons. She says she relies on herself. Students are amazed she's smart and hardworking. Jenny tells her if she feels sick, her father who owns a hospital will examine her. Seoul gets nervous, afraid they'll find out she takes drugs, and thanks her, saying she's fine. She leaves and goes back to class, deciding to stay away from her. A strange student sees her and asks if she asked Jenny's permission first. Seoul is surprised and says she's free. The student notices Seoul taking medicine and goes to give her water, but Seoul throws it on the ground, suspecting she put something in it. The student warns her that Jenny has chosen her, which means she won't have a normal life, and Seoul notices wound marks on her hands. At that moment, Jenny is in the lab. A nerdy student asks why she wants to be friends with Seoul. Jenny scares her with a mouse and says Seoul is special, and she wants to have fun with her. Jenny returns to class, but finds Seoul changed her seat. She asks why. Seoul gets nervous and lies, saying her eyesight is weak, so she wants to sit in front. Jenny decides to sit next to her and asks the girl to switch places, but Seoul refuses, not wanting to cause cause trouble. Everyone is surprised she doesn't want to sit next to Jenny. Jenny laughs and lets her be. Sol posts an ad online to buy a used uniform because she has no money. Someone contacts her, and she goes to the location and takes the uniform. She tries to open her father's phone again, but fails. A strange number calls her, but when she answers, no one speaks. The next day at school, a bully bumps into her and spills juice on her, pretending it's an accident. The bully makes fun of her, saying she's poor and smells bad. Sewell remembers her old school where girls bullied her and beat her. She goes to the bathroom to wash her clothes. Jenny comes in and hugs her to comfort her, offering her extra clothes, but Sewell refuses and asks her to stay away because she doesn't want trouble. Jenny is upset and leaves. Sewell wears the dirty clothes and returns to class. The teacher distributes exam papers, and Sewell is surprised to find questions they haven't covered yet. She realizes they all take private lessons. She tries to answer what she knows, but time runs out. Jenny gets the highest score, and Sewell gets a bad grade because she left many questions blank. She feels embarrassed and talks to the teacher, who treats her badly, saying she must rely on herself. During break, Sewell hears students making fun of her appearance. She doesn't care and sits alone. When she finishes, she sees her picture in the school's group chat where everyone knows she bought her uniform used. They say mean things. She finds a picture of the leaked exam and realizes students got the questions in private lessons. She goes to confirm, pretending she wants to participate, and decides to film them. But the principal sees her and stops her. Sol gets scared and runs. She gets in an elevator and runs into Jenny, who helps her and gives her a cap so no one will recognize her. She shows her the emergency exit and tells her to go to the rooftop. Sol trusts her and runs until she reaches the rooftop and hides. She hears someone approaching and gets scared, but when she opens her ears, she sees Jenny holding out her hand and laughing. Sol feels like she's an angel sent from heaven. We see a flashback to learn Jenny's story. Her father is a rich man who owns a hospital but is obsessed with perfectionism. He wanted his daughter to be number one even before she was born, choosing a specific day for his wife to give birth so his daughter would be lucky. From a young age, Jenny was talented in everything. Her mother was proud, but her father wanted her to be first in everything. He became cruel and made her study all the time, holding competitions between her and her older sister. The one who finished first would win, and he would punish the loser and make the winner hit them. Jenny always won, but would cry because she didn't want to hit her sister. Her father convinced her that if she didn't do it, her sister would defeat her and hit her. Jenny was forced to obey and eventually decided to cut off her relationship with her sister. She turned into a bully, started smoking, and staying out late. Back to the present, Jenny asks Sewell to come with her to her father's hospital. It's a very luxurious place. Jenny takes Sewell to her room and gives her a new uniform to wear. Sewell is surprised she knew her size. Jenny tells her she respects her because she was first through her own effort without private lessons. Sewell is surprised she knew and agrees to help with lessons in exchange for studying together. Suddenly, they hear someone nearby and hide in the closet. It's the nerdy student and her rich friend, saying ugly things about Sewell. Sol is upset, but Jenny covers her ears. Jenny's phone rings and the students hear the sound, suspecting someone is in the closet. They approach, but Jenny sends them a message saying she's waiting to study, so they have to go. As Sewell is leaving, someone grabs her. She gets scared, but he tells her that her bag is open. She looks up and realizes he was Jenny's father. Sewell thinks Jenny lives a perfect life and envies her for being from a rich family, while she was raised in an orphanage and found her family dead. She becomes sad and feels life is not fair, realizing the only way to improve her life is to study and be first. She decides to go back to taking medications that keep her awake all night and starts having hallucinations again. The next day, she goes to school with confidence and asks Jenny if she can sit next to her again. Jenny shocks everyone by agreeing and saying this was her place from the beginning. They talk and study together, and other students feel jealous. The teacher decides to hold elections for class president. Everyone expects the nerdy girl to win, but Jenny nominates Sol. Students are surprised, but no one can say no to her. The teacher has to do it, and voting begins. When results come in, they're surprised. Sol won. The nerdy girl gets angry, suspecting elections were rigged. She checks the papers and realizes students voted for Sol because they're afraid of Jenny. Sewell asks her to accept defeat and offers her the position of vice president, telling her to apologize to classmates for doubting them. The nerdy student feels embarrassed and has to do it. At the end of the day, Sewell returns home and sees a man's shoe, realizing it's her stepmother's boyfriend. She has to leave the house until he leaves. She goes to the park and sits alone, trying to open her father's phone but failing. She gets a message from Jenny asking to meet. They go to a music store and sing and dance happily. Sol tells Jenny she's always wanted a close friend because she's lived alone her whole life. Jenny is moved and says she'll be her close friend and sister too. She asks her to come home with her. When she arrives, Sewell is amazed at how spacious the house is. She sees a small dog and is scared, but Jenny reassures her it's peaceful. saying it belongs to her older sister who loves animals. Sewell is surprised to learn she has a sister, but Jenny says they're not close. She takes her to her room, and Sewell is surprised to see many aquariums, feeling like she's in the middle of the ocean. Jenny tells her she loves the sea because it makes her feel safe. Suddenly, the dog enters holding a dress that reminds Sewell of painful memories. She decides to tell Jenny everything about her childhood, explaining it looks like the dress she wore when she was little, which caused her to get lost on the trip. She was raised in an orphanage, and when she grew up, her family had died, leaving only her stepmother. Jenny is moved and tries to comfort her. She offers to let her sleep over because it's late, but at night while sleeping, Sewell has a nightmare and wakes up terrified. She finds Jenny asleep and doesn't want to disturb her, so she goes to the bathroom. When she returns, she sees a message on Jenny's phone from the bully girl, regretting her actions and asking Sewell to delete her video. Sewell's curiosity gets the better of her, and she decides to open the phone, finding information about herself and her father on it. She sees a picture of herself as a child and the announcement she was lost. Sewell is shocked and realizes Jenny knew everything from the beginning. At the same time, the nerdy student is furious with Jenny because she lost the election. She remembers a flashback from when she was little, always coming in second, jealous of the first place student. When that girl left, she thought she would be first, but then Jenny transferred to her school, beautiful and popular, ranking first. She had to befriend her to become famous too. The most handsome student asked her out, but he confessed he was only using her to get closer to Jenny. Since then, she has hated Jenny and held a grudge. She snaps out of her memories, deciding to take revenge. The next day, Jenny wakes up and is surprised Sewell has left. She had placed a tracking app on her phone and found out her home address. She goes to school, finds Saul there, and tries to talk, but notices she's avoiding her. Sewell says her stepmother needed her. She sees the bully and learns she's transferring from school. She asks Jenny if she knows the reason, but she pretends to be innocent. The teacher distributes grades for an essay they wrote, and Sewell gets the highest grade. Everyone asks the teacher to read her essay, but he refuses because it contains personal things. During break, a rich girl goes to the teacher's office and sees Sewell's essay, surprised to find many secrets. She decides to expose her, stealing it from her bag and distributing it to all students. Sewell discovers her essay is missing and is shocked to see someone photographed it and left a copy for students. They start reading and learn she was raised in an orphanage. Jenny gets angry and takes the papers from them, warning them. But Sewell confronts her with what she saw on the phone, that she knew her true story from the beginning. She also reveals she saw the video Jenny took of the bully. We learn Jenny threatened to expose her for buying leaked exams, so the bully got scared. Jenny told her she must leave school as punishment for getting close to something that belongs to her. Sewell asks why she did this, and Jenny says she wanted revenge on the bully. But Sewell is angry because she's treating her like a toy. She asks what she will gain from her, but Jenny refuses to answer. Sewell returns to the classroom, hearing students talking about her after learning her true story. The nerdy girl approaches and asks her to come to the student council meeting. There, the nerdy girl tells her she read the essay and found out her father was a teacher at their school who died in Jenny's father's hospital due to a medical error, and that's why his wife filed a lawsuit. Sewell is shocked, realizing Jenny got close to her to make her drop the lawsuit. She remembers her memories with Jenny and can't believe it was all an act. The nerdy girl advises her to stay away. Jenny keeps sending messages, but Sewell doesn't reply. She returns home and finds a lawsuit her stepmother filed against Jenny's father. She's surprised she had hidden it from her. She confronts her, telling her she knows and asks her not to drop the lawsuit. The next day, she tries to study but can't focus. She feels tired and starts to see hallucinations again because she hasn't taken medication for a while. She notices her medication is about to run out and can't find any in pharmacies. She keeps searching online until she finds someone selling them. She agrees to meet him at night in a deserted place. When she arrives, she's surprised to see Jenny, who laughs and says, "Now I know how you used to be first." She gives her a stronger drug, but Sewell refuses. Jenny follows her and challenges her. If she gets a higher score on exams, she will tell her why she was gathering information. She tells her she must use the drug because it helps her stay awake and focus, and also gives her summaries from private lessons. Sewell realizes Jenny did this to make her always in need of her. She has to take the pills and is surprised their effect is indeed better, but she starts to hallucinate and imagine things that aren't there. Meanwhile, a rich student who has been lying because she's poor and has many debts agrees to become a spy for Jenny's father in exchange for money. The next day, Sewell goes to school, and during the exam, she's surprised the questions are the same as the ones from the notebook Jenny gave her. Jenny looks at her laughing and asks her to keep the secret. When results are out, she finds she got the same score as Jenny, and they both came out on top. Students start to resent her because she's poor and an orphan, but got higher marks. Suddenly, she gets a call from a guy who was with her in the orphanage, waiting in front of the school. She's afraid someone will see him and ask him to leave, but the rich student sees him and thinks he's her boyfriend. After school, Saul meets him, and he tells her he knew she was stealing the drugs she was distributing. He threatens to expose her, saying that's the secret to her success. He gets angry, takes her to the dressing room, and demands that she pay for the drugs she stole, giving her a week's deadline. She leaves and returns to school, learning they're going to have a medical checkup. She's anxious the whole way, afraid they'll find out she takes drugs. They arrive at the hospital, and she gets nervous, not knowing what to do. Suddenly, Jenny sends her a message saying she will help her, asking her to meet on the roof. Sewell is happy and runs there. When she arrives, she finds Jenny standing on the railing. She kneels on the ground and tells her she's willing to do anything she asks, begging her to help and keep her secret. She tells her that studying is the only thing that made people respect her, and if they knew the truth, she would go back to being an outcast. She promises to make her stepmother drop the lawsuit. Jenny extends her hand and tells her she's not doing this for the lawsuit and will always protect her. She gives her a sample to swap so no one will know. She tells her, "I want both of us to be first." She returns to the hospital, hands in the sample, and is relieved. The doctor asks her to lie down. Sewell closes her eyes but dreams of the day she got lost. She feels scared, but Jenny appears and holds her hand to reassure her. Sewell wakes and finds Jenny in front of her. They learn there's a party for the school's founding anniversary and decide to go together. They buy gifts and spend a lovely time, but Jenny's father is at the party and is annoyed by their relationship. He takes their soda and food, claiming they're harmful, but Saul is not convinced and does what she wants, telling him a person lives only once and should enjoy their life. Jenny is impressed and does the same. She's happy and for the first time feels free, laughing from the heart because her father always controls her. At the end of the day, Sewell tells her she has come to consider her closest friend. They go to watch fireworks, getting closer, but at that moment, her father goes to meet the rich girl and asks her to steal Saul's father's mobile phone. She agrees for a large sum of money. Another student sees them and sends a picture to Jenny, who is surprised to see them together. She realizes she's planning something, leaves Sewell, and runs to stop her. She finds out she stole Sewell's father's phone and has hidden it under a table to charge. Jenny takes it and goes into the bathroom but finds it locked with a password. She uses her intelligence and decides to try the date of the day Saul got lost as a child. It turns out to be correct. She finds a picture of Jenny's father with a student, but when she zooms in, she's shocked to see it's her older sister. At that moment, Sewell discovers the phone has disappeared and suspects Jenny took it. Suddenly, a crazy student starts a fight with her, being drunk and not in her right mind. She accuses her of kidnapping Jenny from her. The student is holding a knife and tells her not to come near. Jenny sees what's happening from a window and goes to help her, but suddenly someone whose face is not visible enters. It's her sister. We see a flashback. We learned that her sister was smart, but would deliberately lose to protect Jenny and take the beating in her place. She always took care of her. But her father convinced Jenny she must stay away from her sister to surpass and defeat her. Her sister had hoped she would love her again, but suddenly she felt sick and fainted. Her father, instead of letting her rest, told her she had to go back to school and study. Because of her illness, she couldn't focus and was afraid her father would kick her out. She decided to go into school and steal the exams, but Saul's father walked in on her. He was surprised because she was an outstanding student. She knelt on the floor and begged him not to tell anyone. He felt sorry for her and asked her to tell him everything. She began to tell him about her father's treatment, but suddenly her father walked in on them and took pictures of them together to start a rumor they were in a relationship. Back in the present, Jenny learns that their father was the cause of Sewell's father's death. She asks her sister for the mobile phone because it has proof, but Jenny doesn't believe her, pushes her away, and they start fighting. Because of this, the phone falls out of the window. Her sister decides to risk her life and jumps after it. A security officer arrives and tries to catch her, but she gets scared and runs away. Jenny goes down after her and manages to find the phone, but when she returns to the party, she learns Sewell has been injured. The principal locks the gate, so Jenny is forced to jump over the fence, but learns the ambulance has taken Sewell to her father's hospital. She gets scared and feels Sewell's life is in danger. She runs to catch up with her and finds her father treating the wound on her shoulder. Her father asks her to stitch the wound herself to practice for medical school. Jenny has to agree because she doesn't trust him. At night, Sewell wakes up and learns she's in Jenny's father's hospital. She finds a video of the student hitting her that is spread everywhere. Jenny arrives and hugs her, taking her to the garden. Sewell asks her about her father's phone. Jenny pretends not to know anything and tells her there are rumors about her father being in a relationship with the student. Sewell is upset and tells her that her father would never do such a thing. She gets a call from the bully from the orphanage who threatens her for money and asks her to steal medicine from the hospital. She has to obey him and enters the storage room. And there on the floor is a dead person. Suddenly, another person appears from behind her and locks the room. It's Jenny's father, and she's terrified. But he takes the phone from her, ends the call, and knows she has no family to ask about her. He knows he's experimenting on her and practicing surgical operations. He tells her to be a doctor. You must be brave and not afraid of the sight of blood. At that moment, Jenny is returning home when she feels someone is following her. Someone appears from behind and hits her, and she passes out. When she wakes up, she finds her sister in front of her. Her sister asks her to give her Saul's father's phone, but Jenny tells her she doesn't have it. She asks if she's sure her father was the one who killed the teacher. Her sister tells her she saw him with her own eyes, and the video on the phone is proof. Jenny decides to verify her words first and gives her another phone so she can contact her. The next day at school, a detective investigates what happened at the party. He starts taking students' statements, and they all say the crazy student is not normal and takes strange pills. They learn she did it because she was jealous of Sewell. Sewell goes to school, and her stepmother drops her off, telling her the man whose shoes she saw was a lawyer. Sewell is happy and realizes she had misjudged her. An employee takes her to the principal's office for a meeting with the girl who hit her and her family. No one is there with Saul since she's an orphan. She feels embarrassed and decides to call her stepmother, who knows she's in trouble and decides to go stand by her side immediately. Her stepmother enters, and everyone is surprised she came so quickly. Saul is happy and realizes she's kind. Her stepmother asks the principal to restore Saul's rights, but the principal sides with the other student because she's from a rich family. She makes her testify against Saul, saying she was the one who gave her drugs. Saul is shocked and cries, but no one believes her. They decide to investigate her on the charge she's selling drugs to students. A policeman arrives to take her statement, threatening her to confess. Sewell is afraid her future will be ruined and is forced to tell the truth, saying Jenny is the one who sells drugs. Jenny finds out they want to frame Saul for selling drugs and expel her from school. She decides to stand by her and help her. Suddenly, the bully arrives, pretends to be her boyfriend, helps her with her bag, and takes her away. He asks her how she bought the pills, and Sewell is forced to tell him everything, that someone created an email online and is selling them. He tells her to send a message to the email and pretends she wants to buy them so he can catch them. The next day, Jenny goes to the place where she hides the drugs but is surprised to find they've disappeared. She learns a student took them and put them in Saul's locker, planning to report her to the police. Jenny realizes a trap has been set for her and runs to catch Saul. Arriving just in time, she takes her and they escape from the place before police arrive. On the metro, she tells her the student reported them. Sewell tells her the truth about the bully, that he was with her in the orphanage and gave her the pills. Jenny is surprised and advises her to stay away from him. She also tells her about her older sister, saying she knows information about her father's death. She tries to call her, but finds her phone is off. Jenny, having put a tracking app on her sister's phone, turns it on to find her location. She's surprised she's at their house and suspects her father has caught her. When she arrives, she searches everywhere but can't find her. When she calls her, she hears the sound of the phone and is surprised she's in her room. Suddenly her father enters and she gets nervous, but he just notices her temperature is high and asks her to rest. When he leaves, she opens the box where she had hidden Saul's father's phone, but is surprised to find it has disappeared. The next day, a police officer arrives at a student meeting and tells them there was a dealer selling drugs. Jenny goes to talk to him and tells him it's her sister, explaining she stole drugs from her father's hospital and sells them. Saul is surprised, but Jenny tells her she wants the police to look for her sister and find her before her father gets to her. They review surveillance cameras from the day of the party and see her sister standing with the nerdy student. They follow her, and Jenny asks if she knows her sister's location. The nerdy girl gets nervous and says she met her by chance. Suddenly, Jenny gets a call from an unknown number. A voice says he knows where her sister is and tells her to bring drugs to a nightclub. They disguise themselves and enter the nightclub. Jenny goes to leave the goods in the bathroom, while Sewell and the nerdy girl watch the place. Sewell sees a young man and suspects him, while the nerdy girl follows another girl into the bathroom. She finds her taking the goods and sprays her with water to catch her, but is surprised to find it's their rich friend. She's forced to confess she arranged the call to take the goods, sell them, and make a profit because her family went bankrupt. Afterwards, Saul's friend the bully arrives and tells her he saw Jenny's sister while she was escaping and that an ambulance caught her and took her to a sanatorium. But suddenly Jenny gets a call and learns they've found her sister. She goes and Saul goes with her. and here was the shock. She died. Jenny goes to see her for herself, but her features are not visible. She suspects it's not her. The doctor tells her she escaped from the sanatorium and then jumped from a mountain. Sol is moved and feels sorry for Jenny. The next day, she hears students saying Jenny is the cause of her sister's death. She gets angry and starts throwing a ball at them to shut them up. On the other side, Jenny keeps having nightmares, feeling guilty because she treated her sister badly. Sul goes to visit her, and Jenny decides to confess she was able to open her father's phone. Sul asks how she knew the password, and Jenny tells her it was the day she got lost. Sul is moved, realizing her father really loved her. She asks her to return the phone, but Jenny tells her it has disappeared, suspecting her sister took it. Sul hugs her to comfort her and decides to find out for herself. She goes to the sanatorium and gets the address of the hotel where she was staying. She arrives and finds the nerdy and rich girls there as well. They enter the room together and start searching. Sol finds a box and is surprised to find a diary inside. She reads it and learns she was suffering from depression. Her father decided to act. He met Sol's father and threatened to expose her and say he was in a relationship with his students, offering to help him find his daughter Sol in exchange for him leaking exams. Sol's father had to agree. He went to a secret place to prepare exam questions where no one was allowed to use a phone. He succeeded in learning all the answers, went to the bathroom, wrote them on paper, and swallowed it. Afterwards, he felt sick and fainted. The ambulance took him to the hospital where Jenny's father received him and succeeded in getting the exam paper out of him. But he decided to finish him off so no one would know what happened. Jenny's sister was the only one who saw what happened, which is why she had run away. Sol learns Jenny's father is the one who killed her father. She gets angry and decides to take revenge. She goes to his hospital, meets Jenny, and tells her everything. Jenny is shocked and believes her because she suspects her father was also involved in her sister's death. She decides to help her find evidence against him, having her disguise herself in a nurse's uniform and enter the hospital. She disables surveillance cameras so no one will see her, then goes to attend her sister's funeral so no one will suspect her. Sul takes the opportunity and enters Jenny's father's office, but doesn't find anything, learning he has erased all evidence. She gets angry and decides to avenge her father with her own hands, returning to the funeral and running towards Jenny's father to finish him off. Luckily, her stepmother arrives just in time and stops her. Jenny goes to pick up the knife from the floor. Sol and her stepmother go to meet the nerdy girl's mother because she's a lawyer and ask her to take the case. She agrees, but tells them there's no evidence. Jenny's sister was the only witness, but she died. Sul is saddened but doesn't give up because she feels Jenny's sister is still alive. At night, she goes to follow her father, but Jenny appears from behind her and pulls her. They remain hidden but don't find anything. The next day is the court date. The lawyer is hopeful Sol will find Jenny's sister's location, but they are unable to reach her. The judge has to postpone the case. When they leave the courthouse, Sol feels frustrated, but Jenny holds her hand and comforts her. Her father sees them and gets angry, taking her with him in the car and giving her a phone to see what will happen. She's shocked he has placed surveillance cameras in Sol's car. Suddenly, while she's on the road, a car hits her. Fortunately, her stepmother hits the brakes just in time, but Sul breaks down and starts crying. Jenny is shocked and realizes her father is a dangerous person. He tells her she's wronging him and decides to show her the truth. He takes her to an isolated place in the forest where she finds her sister imprisoned. She's shocked, hugs her, and decides to take her to testify in court. But when she tries to leave, an alarm system goes off, causing her sister to have a headache and start screaming. She learns a device has been placed on her leg to ensure she cannot leave. She gets angry and asks why he's doing this. He tells her he didn't finish Sol's father off. Her sister did by disconnecting the machines. He tells her he's been trying to protect her and erased a large part of her memories so she wouldn't feel guilty. He threatens her not to mention it to anyone and asks her to stay away from Sul and be first, or he will finish her off. Jenny gets scared and has to obey him. The next day, Sul notices Jenny is absent from school. She's worried and asks the teacher, who tells her she's sick, but she doesn't believe her. After class, she tries to call her, but she doesn't answer. She decides to go to the hospital and sees her standing with her father. She tries to enter, but security stops her. She waits for her outside until she comes out. She tries to talk to her, but Jenny treats her coldly, telling her she doesn't need her anymore and that she was using her all along. Jenny did all this because she was afraid for her from her father, but Sul is shocked by her words and believes she was pretending to be her friend. She becomes sad and keeps crying. When she returns home, she tries to study, but because she stopped taking medication, she feels tired and falls asleep. She keeps hallucinating and imagines herself drowning in the sea. The next day, she has an exam, but can't see the questions clearly. Time runs out, and when results are announced, everyone is surprised her rank is now 15th. The nerdy student came in first. Jenny returns home, gives her father her result, and apologizes for coming in second. She tells him she needs his help and asks him to leak exams to her. After school, Sol goes home but sees her stepmother in a new expensive car and suspects she dropped the case. She gets angry and asks her why she did that. Her stepmother tells her she had lost hope. Sol is upset and leaves the house. She refuses to give up and goes to the place where Jenny's sister is buried, deciding to steal her remains and perform a DNA analysis to prove it's not her. But Jenny's father sees her and doesn't report her, instead offering to leak the final exams to her if she stops pursuing him. Sol suspects Jenny asked him to do that and goes to confirm with her, finding her at swimming practice. When she arrives, she finds her standing in a high place and thinks she wants to jump. Sol has to risk her life to find out if Jenny is deceiving her. She runs towards the swimming pool and jumps into the water. Jenny is shocked, gets scared for her, and jumps in after her, deciding to save her. Sol is happy and is sure that what Jenny said was not from her heart, but to protect her. They agree to cooperate to find evidence against her father. The next day, Sol goes to meet the young bully from the orphanage and asks for his help in exchange for exam questions so he can sell them to rich students. He agrees. At night, they begin to execute the plan, monitoring Jenny's father. They hijack his ambulance, force the driver out, and take his place. Their plan succeeds, and Jenny's father gets in the ambulance not knowing they're the ones driving. They kidnap him and take him to a remote location, threatening him to hand over the exam questions. Sol learns he has them hidden in his pocket and takes them from him. But suddenly Jenny arrives, and the bully is surprised, realizing they're in agreement. He threatens Sol to give him the questions, but she refuses and decides to swallow them. The bully gets angry and asks Jenny's father to perform surgery on her to get the questions out. They take her to the hospital where the parents of rich students are waiting. The bully comes out and starts giving them exam questions in exchange for money. Jenny stays by Sol's side, but her father tells her she won't wake up until tomorrow. He gives her the real questions, claiming the ones the bully has are fake. He asks her to study them and threatens her to be first, or he will finish Sol off. Jenny is scared and has to do it. The next day is the final exam, and everyone is surprised the questions are different from what they studied, but Jenny is the only one who knows them. After that day, a week passes, the result comes out, and she manages to get a perfect score, coming in first not just in her school, but in all schools. The next day, her father appears on a program, very proud of her, announcing she will enter medical school. But at that moment, Jenny begins to execute her plan. She goes to the place where her father is hiding her sister, puts her in a rescue suit, takes her, and they fly out the window and jump into the sea. She films what is happening, and the video spreads on television. Everyone is shocked. Police and the rescue team arrive and succeed in getting her out of the water. They're surprised it is Jenny's sister, and everyone knows she's still alive. Sol arrives at the place, keeps crying, and asks the rescue team to look for Jenny, but unfortunately, no one finds her. The news spreads that Jenny's father leaked exams, and he's arrested and sentenced to prison. Days pass, and no one knows Jenny's whereabouts. They think she's dead while all students begin to achieve their dreams. The rich girl decides to work part-time to pay off her debts and is discovered by a famous actress. The nerdy student decides to become a lawyer and defend the oppressed. Then we see our heroine Sol studying, this time on her own merit, to succeed and enter medical school. On the day before the exam, she falls asleep and dreams of Jenny. She wakes up terrified but hears someone knocking on the door. When she goes and sees a message, she learns it's from Jenny. She opens it and finds a picture of a place by the sea. She's happy and is sure she's still alive. And our story ends with this happy ending. A reminder that some connections in this life ignite the fire in our soul. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.